Okay, it says we are live, and this is the Bunderdome. I am your host, Timothy Lim, with my co-host and co-writer, Mark Pellegrini. He started his festivities a little bit early today, so if he has to dip out at any minute, we'll know why. And I will not.
What the fuck is a common America? I want to play GoldenEye.
I won't judge either. We won't judge. That's not going to happen. Not tonight.
This is a judgment-free zone.
Well, I don't know if anyone is even watching because it says that there's 0 people watching.
Oh no, that's the worst number of people.
I know it's the worst, but that's okay.
We just got confetti on our Kickstarter and everything.
Oh, did you see that? It's really cool.
Yeah,
I'd never seen it actually count down to that point. And I was there to watch the seconds go by, and it was like they had a little New Year's Eve on the page. I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, let me send out a link to the 1/14 of the people who follow me that follow you. They're all the same people who follow you. So.
Hey, it's the quality of the people who show up, not the quantity.
Yeah, so Hervohe and Josh and Full Custom and all you people who usually follow us, where are you at?
Man, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna thank a bunch of people. I'm gonna give a mini speech, I guess. I was talking on John De La Rosa's channel a few days ago, and he was congratulating us on the amount of funds that we raised and also our backer number. And I told him that, and it's the same thing we tell everyone, which is we don't really look at the numbers past our funding goal. So typically our funding goal is 2K because honestly, if Mark and I can walk out with $500 a piece, we consider that to be a worthwhile payment for our hobby. But we can't escape the reality that a lot of people look at the project and they do keep up with the numbers, and there's some arbitrary milestones, I think, that people like paying attention to. So one that they were looking at closely was 50K. And when we crossed that, that was considered a big deal. And recently the milestone was, can they make it past 2K? Because in terms of subscribers, or not subscribers, readers, because apparently it might've been Doug Tenaple who said that if you can pass that 2K milestone and you can keep it, then it means that for your subsequent projects, you're pretty good. So I think as of yesterday, we were actually hovering around like 1875, I think. So I just thought, we're not going to hit 2K, but we had that last day rally, I guess.
Yeah, that surge at the last minute that caught me by surprise. And it was a sizable surge too. I mean, we were right around 60,000, and just looking at it right now, we ended at 66. So I mean, we got a lot of dollars, but we also got like an extra 2,000 or something people at the last minute. You know, that was a huge surprise.
Yeah, it was surprising to me too, and I just want to do the stream to just say thank you to a bunch of people. There's so many that if I forget you, please don't be offended. It's just that there are a ton of you. And I think one reason that we're happy is because we had a model going forward that started about 2 years ago. I think a lot of people have documented it, but it was essentially like a lot of people thought our careers were essentially ruined simply because of a falling out that we had. And our most successful crowdfunding campaign up until that point was Trump Space Force. Mark was the editor on it, and I was the artist, but that was an A-list roster we had. You know, we had Dave Dorman, we had Graham Nolan, we had Brett R. Smith, we had Chuck Dixon as the writer, we had endorsements from people like friends of ours like Sebastian Gorka and Jack Posobiec, who were really helpful. But the reality is that because we had such like an A-list roster on it, we just going alone with the two of us. I mean, we're nobodies really. And so if you look at our work from then on, I mean, they're relatively smaller crowdfunders. And in fact, with Black Ops 2 at this time last year, we were pulling teeth to try and make our overhead because I tried to repeat the same success by hiring a lot of I considered them like A-list talent. I mean, like we had Kelsey Shannon working on it. We had Genzoman, obviously that was our first partnership as far as covers are concerned. So we had a budget of 8K, and like 4 weeks into the campaign, we were pulling teeth trying to meet that goal. And it was the Needle Mover Society with Doug Garrett and Matt Veely who came in and helped us out. And I never forgot that, and I never will forget it, because I just thought that that's kind of the community that we've always wanted to foster, was this idea of lending a helping hand when you can, if you truly believe in something. And I don't want to ever come across as being ungrateful for not doing the same when we are in a position to do so. So if you're showing up to the stream and I see you, the better, because I will mention you and I will thank you, because a lot of people never thought that we would ever make it this far. They thought that we were essentially ruined. And with Mark and I, two people who are not professionals at all, we have come the closest we have ever to our initial campaign with Trump Space Force. And we're not pros, and we're almost there. We're just a breath away. We actually prefer the higher backer number because it shows that people trust the product. The money is great. Don't get me wrong, but the money goes into the next project. So whatever we made on Black Ops 3 actually funded Kamen America 2. Whatever Kamen America 2 makes is funding Kamen America 3.
And I mean, I was looking at at the number of tiers, and because Kickstarter tells you how many people backed your individual tiers, and the digital ones for Kamen America 1 and the Kamen America 1 plus Kamen America 2 tiers, etc. That was about a quarter of our backer number, but that's great to me, because that's the number of people who are backing because they want to read the book, because they want to see what we have to offer. And we've had so many people who have commented saying that they backed the Kamen America 1 campaign digitally, and they liked the book so much they came back to back Kamen America 2 physically, because they wanted physical copies of the comic because they enjoyed it so much. And what's really cool about that to me is that people are reading our book and they're liking our book because they like our book. They don't know Tim and me from Adam. They don't care about us. We don't have any celebrity status. We don't have any pro status. They just read the book and enjoyed it so much that they want to own a hard copy, and they've told their friends, and their friends are coming back, and that's literally doubled our numbers of backers on Kamen America 2. And that tells us that the quality of the product we've created is enough that it's bringing people back and then some, and that means a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a comment I got on Instagram not too long ago where someone was like, well, you do know that the artist is a blah, blah, blah. And someone replied and they said, I don't care. Like, I don't buy a book because of the person who's doing it. I buy it because of the work that's in it. And to me, that's a high compliment. That's a compliment that Mark and I like. I think most people who know us know that our background is in merchandising, and merchandising, it pays very well. The downside to it, though, is that you don't get any celebrity, because I mean, you design t-shirts and prints and posters and stuff like that, but it's very rare that you're showcased in terms of name. But what has always been endearing to us is if I see someone like wearing my t-shirt in public, it means that the work was good enough that someone bought it. They didn't even care who the artist was. And that to me was a bigger compliment to the craft than anyone who buys it simply because they like my personality. Don't get me wrong, I'll take that too. I think that's flattering, but I like knowing that as two guys who do this as a hobby, that we have to be doing something right, hopefully, in order for people to keep on coming back. Now, here's the hard part, though. This is such a high milestone for us that the bar is so high that I hope that we can deliver on the third book, which I'm halfway done with as of today. So I think within a month's time, I'll be completely finished with it. But even if I'm done with it, we're not launching it till mid to late January of next year. That gives people some time over the Christmas break to kind of catch up. But I'm not going to stop. I'm going to start working on Kamen America X Black Ops. So for people who are tuning in who probably didn't know, moving forward, it's kind of a neat thing that we're doing. Black Ops is an annual team-up book. We actually do have quite a list of people who we're comfortable with, who we've worked with in the past, and who want to make this happen. So we anticipate that every Black Ops book moving forward is an annual team up book. And so we're really, really excited about doing that. But like I said, I mean, just the backer number and the funds raised, I don't know. I hope we can increase the backer number next year. That'd be fantastic.
Right. It's that. So we have there's so Matt Groening did this great comic strip before The Simpsons. He had this comic strip called Life is Hell with the bunny with one ear called Bongo.
Yeah.
And it was like a 2-panel strip, and the first panel was fear of success, and this bunny who is like absolutely depressed, and it's got this bar graph going up, and the other one is like fear of failure, and it's the bunny in the same picture with depressed and the bar graph going down. It's like it doesn't matter if you succeed or you fail, you feel depressed either way. So it's like we do want to succeed. We do want to do better each time, but we also know that you can't exist in a bubble. But hopefully everybody who liked Volume 1 of Kamen America has come back for Volume 2, and hopefully everybody who likes Volume 2 is going to come back for Volume 3. We feel like we're improving every single time we do a volume, and we especially feel that way about Black Ops. Like we just released the Black Ops Omnibus, which has Volumes 1 through 3 in it. And if you pick up that omnibus, I mean, you can really see our progress in that trade paperback from Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. I genuinely feel like we are getting so much better, and we are just making better comics with each volume that we do. So I hope that our audience feels the same way, and that we just keep multiplying our audience with each volume.
Yeah, one of the things I'm going to do, so after this stream, I'm going to type up the survey and send it out. But one thing I am going to do, and I did this for a couple of people in the last 2 campaigns that we did, I basically selected a few people as a sample size to, I guess, test or get an opinion in terms of products. I think for this survey, I think everyone is going to get the same questionnaire. So you have a variety of things that you can opine on as far as things that we offer next year. I have already started prototype production on our 2021 lineup. It's really, really cool. I can't spoil anything so far, but I do have products that I don't think anyone has done yet so far. Like I said, Mark and I come from merchandising. Our fulfillment company, the guy who runs it, runs a comic convention, and he's kind of a jack of all trades. So I don't know, at least 3 to 5 times a week, we're sitting around and spitballing ideas. We're always looking at new products on the market and trying to see things that are going to be really cool, but won't necessarily break the bank. So be on the lookout for that. Again, I'm going to try and work that into every survey that we send out. But like I said, that should be going out tonight. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll pick a few people like I did last time and get their opinion. So let's go through the list real quick. I want to start off with Vickyverse. Vickyverse has always been very kind to us, and she has been a very steadfast supporter of our integrity. She's always vouched for, I guess, the way we treat people, and she's been doing this for at least the last year and a half that I can think of. And there are people out there who, in a way, they kind of fight battles for us. And there's always a part of me that feels really bad about it. But, our stance is we know what people talk about, but we try to not really engage with it. But I think there are just some people who they know as consumer advocates that they're in a position to actually speak truth to power. And Vicky's always done that. And if Bean from PA is in the chat, she's done the same thing too. There's a trio of female readers that we have who are like that. Bean being one, Cheyenne being the other, and then Vicky being the third. And she's always been kind to us. Full Custom Hot Dog, another longtime friend of ours. He has a really good channel. Be sure to check it out. He actually has a cameo appearance in Kamen America Volume 2, so be on the lookout for that one. It's going to be pretty obvious in terms of what it is. I wasn't even subtle. I basically just spelled Full Custom Hot Dog because it sounded so good. Just spelling it out. There's just no way another Easter egg of its type would do it justice. Ethereal Dragon, another reader of ours who's been very helpful in posting links and whatnot. Draw and Talk Tyler, this is a big one. So 2021, actually probably later this year, we're going to have Tyler on our show to return the favor. Now, Tyler, we're going to have you on our show, but it's not going to really do you any good because we don't have a subscriber base like you do. but you did us such a big favor, and you have a lot of influence on your channel. You have like a rising star channel in our eyes, simply because it's one of the ones that we've stumbled upon recently that we've been loving. And we've been on there twice, and we always have a silly goose time when we're on it. So I wanted to make sure to thank you. Tony S., another creator. He's a writer too. We've been on his show as well, and he's very, very intelligent. So make sure to click on his link and check out his channel. Video James NZ. I see him a lot on Lorenzo Sleestack's channel. So I'm almost always tuned in to the Sleestackians. I just don't comment all the time, but I listen to y'all because it's a 2.5 hour live stream. So when you're up late at night working and you need streaming content, sometimes you just want to hear dudes talk to each other. Josh the Animator, he actually just did a video where I think he talks about Black Ops. Hey, by the way, Josh, I listened to part of it. The Wanpool cameo is not in Black Ops. It's in Walmart First Term Part 2. It's at the very end. So I heard in your video, you're like, I was looking for everywhere for that Easter egg. I couldn't find it. It's like, oh, no, that's because it's in the other book. But you gave it a really
give us the name for Command Dog, which is such a great name that we had to use it.
Yeah, he did. And he makes a good point. I think he says in the video that the original design by him was a Saint Bernard, but he's correct. So we changed the breed of the dog because every single animal character in Black Ops, with the exception of Rigger Tortoise, they all have an origin in something that took place in the real world. So you point out how Patriotter was the result of the Fukushima nuclear reactor meltdown. USAGI was the result of the atomic bombing of Japan. And Commando G, it is implied that it's Conan the hero dog. So if you notice, the bad guy that they're chasing after is actually modeled after al-Baghdadi. So that was not by
Conan the hero dog, who in that famous Photoshop received a medal from Trump.
Yeah, I love using that meme because I posted the other one where it was like that raccoon. It was like rabid raccoon attacks reporters outside of White House.
It's him giving the medal.
Someone photoshopped Trump giving the raccoon a medal. I just died laughing. That was one of the funniest things. Let's see here. Drawn Talk says, make sure to fill out your damn surveys, people. Otherwise, couldn't freak out. So I have become the master at nagging people for surveys, but I have put a ultimatum on the final update. For any campaign, I always say, this is your final warning. I will not be asking you for surveys anymore. Black Ops Omnibus and Volume 3 on Kickstarter, 32 people still have not filled out their survey. I am not asking you anymore. You're a big boy, you're a big girl. You have 3 months. After 3 months, USPS gets rid of tracking numbers. We have no idea if your parcel made it or not. And yes, I have been contacted with people who are like, hey, where's my book? And I'll look, and it's like, well, you backed this book last year. I can't. It's like, can I have a refund? Can you send me one? One, we sold out of the book because we're not a layaway. We have to sell everything that we have. Mm-hmm. And two, I can't give you a refund because for all I know you got the book and you're just lying to me so that you can get another one.
I mean, you've been getting that message from Trump Space Force, which was what, 2018?
Yes.
It's like, Jesus, it's been 2 years, people. Come on, you spent your money. Pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, look, I think that it's our responsibility to deliver a product on time. I think it's the customer's responsibility to monitor your progress. And some of our customers have been really good about it. I mean, they get that tracking number, and when it's late by like 1 or 2 weeks, they contact me, and I'm like, hey, that's fine. At least you're keeping up with where everything is. I appreciate it. Actually, makes our job a whole lot easier. That's for sure. Where is she? She popped up somewhere here. Oh, well, here's King Forte. I think you go by another name on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. But I always recognize you because of the pony avatar, but I know that you're another person who's been very, very helpful in retweeting and sharing our stuff. So I wanted to thank you. Barb Rogers, haven't seen you in a long time. I think Trump Space Force sold a lot more than it did in the 6 figures it should have been. I appreciate it. I was really happy with the amount that we made. And I know this sounds cheesy, but we made a lot of friends along the way because obviously
the real Kamen America was the friends we made along the way.
exactly. I think, let's see, I know she had a comment somewhere here about the president that I wanted to bring up. Where was it? Did you see it, Mark? It was something about.
I might have missed it, but you mentioned some like people
here
who
it
have
is.
retweeted us. I'm sorry, go on.
She says Trump is going to win by a landslide. I agree. I will make the prediction now, as I did in 2016. Trump will win the election in November. The Norpit. So here's the way I base it on. One, I look at the stats. If there's an oversampling by Democrats by a factor of 5 to 7, it's a botched poll. He's going to win. However, there's 100% chance that the Democrats are going to rig the election with the mail-in ballot.
Oh,
So
I was listening to Rush today on my drive home from work, and he was talking about how basically Republicans always lose the mail-in vote. It's just that's the way it is.
Right.
And of course, right now the mail-in ballots that are coming in, the early voting ballots, basically are all Democrat, saying that Democrats are going to win. But that's the way it's always been every single election, is that Democrats always vote early or they vote absentee or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst thing they can do is they can try and there's been a lot of stuff in the media right now about mail-in ballots for Trump specifically being discarded by the corrupt postal workers and stuff. I mean, that's the worst they can do, but hopefully that's not enough to rig the election.
No, and I don't think it will be. I think if they're going to try and pull it off, it's going to be something like in the case of Kennedy and Nixon, where you just, magically find missing ballots somewhere. But that's why the Trump administration is trying to win a series of legal cases right now where they don't want to wait till after November 3rd to count ballots.
Yeah,
it's like
Pennsylvania is trying to do that. Yeah.
The hardest one is Pennsylvania. Apparently they won in Michigan today, which is good. Now, the thing is that it's good, but he won Michigan in 2016. So it's like, okay, don't get me wrong. It's a swing state. It's still important. I'm glad he won it. But Pennsylvania, I think, is going to be a pretty big one. Yeah. Who else did? I'm trying to go in order here so that we can take.
Well, Cheyenne is a big one because Cheyenne retweeted us
like every morning
day.
I know.
Throughout the entire campaign, every day we got a retweet from Cheyenne promoting Kamen America too, and that was huge, and I'm really grateful to Cheyenne for that.
And Cheyenne, if you're listening, you've already seen your Easter egg. It's not in volume 2, but it's in volume 3, and so you and Vicky actually get a distinct honor in that you're actually named characters. So we actually name a character. She's off screen. You can't see her, but I think you've seen the dialogue where we reference you. Morikyo, I can never pronounce this correctly. I always say Morikopa. I know that's not how you pronounce it. You have a cameo in volume 2 as well. You're an ad on television for your pizza company. I stole the idea from Brian. So I figured that Brian has a monopoly on you. I know that you've been buying a lot of our works, pretty much all the Antarctic Press people, and I think it's the least that we could do. But I like featuring known Easter eggs because it makes the job easier for Mark and I in terms of world building, because we can just use the same Easter eggs over and over again. Let's see here. If I'm missing anyone. Oh, Matt Reese is here too. Matt Reese has had us on his channel a couple times, and Matt Reese is a very ardent reader of our work, and we appreciate it tremendously. He has a show called The Matriarchy, which is typically on Thursday nights, and that's another one I like listening to because it's a very long one, 2.5 hours, but the content is really, really good for sure.
Let's see. There's Nasser Rabadi. There's Matthew Veely, aka Skinny. There's we already mentioned Full Custom Hot Dog. There's also Alex from Kursova, who's another big supporter.
Yeah.
There's Comic Book Hut. There's Thomas Royal and the SWC folks. There's Bean from PA.
Yeah.
There's so many people.
I know.
We made too many friends. Many friends. This is a bad problem to have.
We got our whatchamacallit. We got our friends too from Antarctic. So we have the Rags crew. They were very, very good.
Oh yeah, Brian Ball and all them. They're fantastic.
Yeah. I had to. So he'll tell you, between him and me, we've been just trading Luigi Terrell back and forth. We have a lot of art that we haven't shown people yet. But basically the calendar idea was a last minute thing. And so we basically had to do some bargaining in terms of like, okay, I'll trade you this art piece for this art piece. Hey, Annie, call in this favor. It was madness. And then we had Matt Weldon running around like a headless chicken for a while there too, getting some art for us. So him and
I
Bill
can't
have been
keep
really
track
cool.
of what all Matt Weldon's working on. I mean, I saw him doing that stuff for Nexus, and I saw him doing that stuff for, obviously he's working on Soul Finder too.
Yeah.
You're like, man, like when does he sleep?
He doesn't. That's why he and I we have phone conversation at 3 a.m. because he and I both know that we're awake at that time. Like he sleeps like a vampire essentially. It's the only way he can get some work done without his kids around. So
his 12 children, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I know he's not going to be in the chat because the time difference is too big. But Wes from Thinking Critical, he features us. I know that he's really not soured, but he's skeptical about crowdfunded campaigns because it's really tough endorsing creators when there's no guarantee of a book coming out. It's almost like egg in your face. But he trusts us. And so I think that's very kind of him. It's a service that he does not necessarily have to provide, but it's the idea too that we're content providers for him. So a lot of times he'll have us as panelists, and I'm very grateful that he relies on us and he trusts us to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had a conversation with him like 2 weeks ago, and I feel bad because I was watching my subscriptions and I was waiting for that video to pop up because it was a pre-recorded one. And I didn't see my avatar in the thumbnail, so I was waiting for him to show up. I was like 2 weeks late when I finally realized, oh, he did post it. It just didn't have my avatar in the thumbnail, so I actually retweeted it today. But he's great. He has wonderful conversations and really insightful back and forth with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think he posts once or twice a day, so he does have a lot of morsels of content that he's providing out there. Thank the two Dougs, Doug to Naple. He had us on, I think, in the first 4 days, or he had me on to talk about it. I know he's a busy guy with everything he's working on, but he's kind of like our gold standard. So if you'll notice, almost everything we do is like a light version of him.
The box, we stole the box from him.
I know, but we admitted to it. I was like, oh, we totally stole that idea. But I think where we can't match the overall quality of the construction of his box. But what we did was we did a full color cover. So we were like, okay, we have a little bit of money left over. What can we do to put a little zing in here? So we did that. And obviously we use the same printer and everything. So he's kind of our guru in terms of hopefully what we aspire to be maybe someday when we get to that point. Doug Ernst, really good friend of ours, also very kind enough to promote our book on his channel during his weekly live stream. So that's really kind of him. We are working, Mark and I have done some work on Soul Finder 2, just editorial. I don't even want to say we were editors. We basically just gave it a sweep through and said, outside of like some grammar and spelling errors and maybe one or two things plot wise, he pretty much is his own bird to fly as he goes. So look forward to that coming out. I think I don't know if I think he's talked about it, but what he's going to do is we're going to do an early bird special. So we're printing about 250 Iconic Comics exclusive ones that are going to be sold directly on the store, no crowdfunding. And what's going to happen is it's first come, first serve. You buy it, you get it, that's done. The print run is gone. And in January of next year, he's going to launch the campaign. So 250 lucky people are going to have advanced copies so that they can tell everyone what they think about it. So just be on the lookout for that.
See, there's Melter, PS Melter. There's
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Oh yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah.
There's also Ms. Sashi, who's done art for us, some fantastic art for us.
Sashi's the funniest. So obviously, with our budget, we're juggling a lot of these artists. And what I do is, this is where SWC comes in. SWC, so Thomas Royloop, he actually has really good taste in artists. I know he makes fun of like manga artists all the time, but it seems like we just have very similar tastes in terms of Japanese, Korean, and Chinese artists. So I'll find these people and they're cheap, they're efficient, and they're fast. And I'm just like, boom, boom, boom. And Misashi, she was like kind enough. She reached out to me and she was like, hey, how do I get in on this? And I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad because like, it's not that we were ignoring you. I just got caught up. Like it just was in the back of my mind. Normally it's one of those things where it's like, it's very rare to have an artist come to you like, hey, how do I get involved? So I felt bad because I think Carrot kind of did the same thing where she contributed artwork. So I told Carrot, I said, on volume 3, we'll use your artwork. And then we were able to get Sashi on the calendar, and she's been really, really cool with us as well. And then I don't want to miss out on DA Talks. The DA Talks is DA Talks is a funny dude. So he likes talking about shenanigans on YouTube, and his channel's a lot of fun. But what I'm honored about is he admittedly does not read books or comics. Like, he says so all the time. He's like, no, I don't read books. So but I like him, and I said, here's a copy of Kamen America, the digital one. Like, you don't have to pay me or anything. I just think you're a cool guy. And apparently he backed our book. So I told him, I said I would send a signed copy to him as a matter of thanks, because he doesn't have to he doesn't know us, right? Like, we're not like important people or anything like that, but I think he just likes to chill. So that's really cool. And then Comic Book Hut, I know you mentioned him already, but his YouTube channel, he basically talked about us every day in his videos. And I just thought, my gosh, like, you really don't have to do this. But he's another guy that's had our backs for some time now. Same thing with Rumble Terrier. I know Rumble Terrier, I think he's moved on from comics. Like, he's basically just posting memes and political stuff, but Rumble's a good guy. We had dinner with him at Bell County Comic Con.
Oh yeah, he's been a source of moral support, basically.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I love him. Robot Mechanic, same thing. I see you all the time on Twitter, and I see you pop up in a lot of the mutual channels that we subscribe to, and I just want to thank you as well for tweeting stuff out and promoting us. Again, this is all daunting. Like, I'll tell you what keeps me up at night, Mark. What keeps me up is, you know how I am. I like a well-oiled machine. Like, you've seen me mad whenever, and I only get mad when I have something planned and it doesn't go as planned. Like, I hate that. It's so annoying. But oh crap, I forgot where I was going with this. I can't even think properly.
Right, and it was late at night, but like, I mean, just there's so many people like Wayward and Switchpoint and Sapper Spy, and I was and Fresher Luke has been a huge support for us. There's so many people who have supported us. It's like we can't keep track of all of them. We love you all.
The well-oiled machine. I'm always scared that something is going to happen to our books in the same way that those Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe books happen. So for people who don't know, I did a cover for Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe. This was years ago, I think in 2015. And the diamond delivery truck that it was on, it caught on fire. And our pallet of books were on it. And so it pretty much demolished like 3/4 of the shipment. So it's actually considered like one of the rarest comics that, if you have it good, it's a nice, not what do they call it, double page spread. Like it's a, what do they call those covers? Gatefold cover, I guess. Yeah. And so I'm always scared that something like that's going to happen. Like,
well, geez, I mean, a more apt one is so the first volume of Black Ops, Buns of the Patriots, was actually a 2-issue miniseries released by Antarctic Press direct to market. And issue 1 came out without a problem. Issue 2, Diamond lost like half the shipment. And so issue 2 of Buns of the Patriots is really hard to find. So if you actually happen to have a copy of that, hold on to it. So not saying that one day it'll be worth anything, because I'm not going to put that ego on our book, but it is very hard to find. So it is a collector's item. Hold on to it.
Now I'm going to warn everyone, it is written by Aubrey Sitterson, but it's legitimately a pretty good book. I'm not just saying that because I did a cover for it. Trust me.
Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. I mean, Aubrey Sitterson, for all of – I'm not going to get into like an Aubrey Sitterson hate thing, but the guy likes wrestling, and that book is basically about wrestling. It's G.I. Joe versus Street Fighter as a wrestling match, and it's good. That's his wheelhouse. He did a wrestling issue of Ninja Turtles that was really good. So, I mean – he writes that kind of stuff well.
And it's not woke or anything. I mean, it's literally a tournament. It starts in medias res with no explanation of how anything happens. So if you just want to see Joe's and Cobras fighting Street Fighter, I mean, that's it. But it's legitimately a really good book if you can find it. let's see. Jim Tuner, time to put it up on eBay for $10,000. I was actually looking for it because it's actually pretty rare to find on eBay. If I'm not mistaken, I think Heroes and Fantasies still has some left over.
You have the worst luck with a lot of your variant covers. Like, what was it? It was James Bond Vargas, that cover you did. It's called the Archer cover because you had to draw James Bond looking like Archer because you couldn't get the likeness rights to any of the actors. But that was the one that you that was handed out at the Alamo Draft House premiere of
Spectre.
Which one was it? Spectre.
Was it Spectre? Yeah, it was Spectre.
Or Skyfall. It was one of those.
No, it was Spectre, not Skyfall.
Spectre, yeah. And all these people who came, and everybody who got a ticket to Spectre also got a copy of that comic. And they didn't give a shit about comics, so they just threw it in the trash. So a lot of those comics are very hard to find. You know, you've just got like the weirdest luck with your variant covers that are very rare.
Yeah, Jim Tuner, for people who aren't aware, he's the AI that floats around in different YouTube channels of our mutuals, and he's like always right whenever he talks. But interestingly enough, so I don't know if I told you this, Mark, but Walmart, the gold standard, it goes on eBay for like $150.
Really? So the campaign edition of the gold standard?
Yes.
Because there's going to be a retail edition from Antarctic Press, hopefully before the election. But it's
it should be coming out. Well, I don't know if it will or not, but it's called Walmart Trilogy. Is the one coming out on Antarctic Press, and it's missing 16 pages total.
Okay, so it's missing the Walmart versus Hillary, the Walmart Gaiden like backup story, which isn't vital because it's basically summarized in the first volume of Walmart. So that one's in the gold standard edition for anybody who wants to pay the upcharge on that. But you should have got it when it was on on Kickstarter. I
don't know if Captain Cummings is listening, but Captain Cummings, I think he bought 2 copies of it and he sold both for $150 on eBay.
Both? Captain Cummings, you son of a bitch.
I don't hold it against him. Like, that's what he does. He's a book flipper.
Right? I mean, I don't blame him either. Yeah, I mean, so Captain Cummings has stopped by our booth at Bell County, and he showed us like all the books he's done back issue diving in, and he's found some really interesting ones that he's bought for like 50 cents. So he buys comics for 50 cents that he knows are going to go for like, $20 or more on eBay. So yeah, he is very shrewd.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know this guy, Mark? He's addressing you. He's saying, "Shut up, Mark. I'm perpetually broke. You don't have to rub salt in my wounds."
Prod Mule?
Yeah.
He might. I think he goes by a different name on Twitter. I can't recall though, but he's in a lot of our chats. So thank you, Pord Mule or Porto Mule. I'm sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing your name.
And then Smug Pug says, "Will Iconic Comics ever ship internationally in the future?" So they may ship internationally for other creators. So I know Doug Ernst. He really wants to experiment with shipping internationally. He tried doing it himself, and it was a nightmare. I had warned him, but he said, I want to go through it at least once. So he was doing international shipping on his own, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, like, you're not kidding." And I was like, Canada and South America, like our neighbors to the north and south, like there is a high likelihood that your books are not going to show up. I mean, let's see, how many did I send out in March? I think I sent out 7 books to Canada. I sent out 7 books, and 4 of them had problems. 4.
You have an easier time getting books to like the Isle of Man than you do for like Canada. It's like, why?
Right.
They're right there.
Yeah, and so I get that a lot. It's kind of like, do you do international shipping? I'm like, look, if I can solve the problem and guarantee, okay, it's an easy thing to just charge you the money to ship it, right? Because a lot of these countries, it costs $35 just to ship a book. That's one thing. But it's another thing to have an angry customer. So I don't like angry customers. I'm a people pleaser. And so when someone, like, for example, I was telling Mark that the other day, there was a guy who reached out to me, and it was for Common America 1, the one on Kickstarter back in February. And he reached out to me and he says, "I haven't gotten my book yet. Is there a problem I need to know about?" And I'm just like, wait a minute. This was in February. Like, why? So his tone was like blaming me, like, as in, like, "Oh, you're late." And I wasn't mad at him. I'm mad at the situation of I'm such a people pleaser that it's like I want it to be so perfectly designed that we don't even have that failure to communicate, or where in that chain of news did you not get like the update saying, hey, your book
and that's the thing, is that, so for everybody out there who's sitting looking at their email waiting for the survey, sometimes it gets caught in your spam folder, and sometimes it actually doesn't even make it to your spam folder. Sometimes your Gmail or whatever is set up with a filter that will filter it out. So if you want to make sure you've got that survey, just log into your Kickstarter account and your survey will be in there. It'll always be in your Kickstarter account. You can always check there for it.
That's right. Yeah, because and what I've started doing was, just so that people can't say that I never replied to them, I've just started using Kickstarter's internal messaging system. So it archives every message that we have, even if it's sent through email. So Prod Mule is Lumdrop.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's the name. Thank you, Lumdrop. I'm sorry, and I know you actually corrected me last time we had a chat, but I forgot what your alternate ID was. But yeah, Lumdrop, you've been on us with Twitter for a long time. We really appreciate it. And Zippy the Unicorn. How could we not mention Zippy the Unicorn, or English Nachos, aka Pickles?
Oh yeah, I don't want to forget about them. I feel such an ass if I don't mention Pickles and Shabby.
Yeah,
they're really cool. Vestry, they have that book go. They had it going. It's already finished with its crowdfunding, but there are friends from across the pond. What's his name? Pickles is. I'm tired. Pickles is basically like an honorary American. I grant him online American citizenship by default because he's so cool. Same thing with Shabby. I like Shabby, and I have a bromance going. So that's understandable.
I mean, Pickles lets me make fun of the terrible and disgusting British cuisine, and he has a good sense of humor about that. So I'll give him all the props in the world. He's a Brit with a sense of humor. So.
So I wanted to mention something about Lumdrop. Hey, Lumdrop, you submitted some art, didn't you? Because I have a piece of art that has your name on it, and I just wanted you to know that I'm pretty sure that that's in volume 3. So I put out a list of people who are in volume 2, and if you're not on that list, it's because we're saving the art for a future volume. I think there's only like 1 or 2 pieces that we're not going to use, but the rest of them we are. So yours was really good, and I have it on the folder to be published in volume 3 if you're still here and you're listening. Crap, I just forgot about Romancer X. I was able to get the $200 tier. Someone dropped it like a week ago and I got it. I really wanted the variant for volume 2. My gosh.
Wow.
You lucked out. So I ordered like X number of those books.
It was 10 each for the Common Comic tier and the Common America tier. You did 10 each. Yeah.
But the key is this. The key is that they're signed. So what is going to happen, because a lot of people wanted that cover, that's actually an Iconic Comics exclusive. So they're going to end up selling the remainder on their website. But the only difference is that it's not signed. The $200 tier, you're getting a lot of stuff, and you get Mark and I to autograph it, which is not cheap because we don't live in the same state anymore. Well, I say anymore. For the most part, I'm in Texas and he's in Arkansas. I only come back to Arkansas probably once every 6 weeks, and I'm only in town for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time, which means that for us to do fulfillment, for example, for this one, I'm going to mail the books to Mark. He's going to sign them, and then he has to mail them back to me.
Yeah, that's what I did for Walmart Gold Standard. Was you basically UPS them to me, and then I signed them, and then I UPS them back to you. It was like $60 each way.
Yeah, and we have to insure it too, because if we lose those, I shudder to think about it. In terms of that's a lot of money down the drain. Yeah. We'll put it that way. Who else are we missing? I think we've addressed everyone as far as the chat is concerned. It's gonna kill me tomorrow if we don't mention a certain person that we were intending to, but I think we got the bulk of them. I'm gonna go through one more time through Twitter and just look at kind of the usual people. There's Tubby Church. He's kind of a funny guy. He he always makes fun of the PDFs because he knows how frustrated I can be when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, he makes fun of the PDFs. He makes fun of the survey. He's like, did I fill out my survey in time? Do I like, if I order the PDF, do I get a physical copy? Do you do international shipping? Like, yeah, he really messes with you on all that.
We have Chicken Sith, Patrick Johnson. I know he listens to our Bunderdomes when he's driving. So if he's tuned in, he's another really cool guy who supported us, like in terms of backing us or, just buying our books at conventions and stuff. We love hanging around him.
Yeah, we mentioned Bean, right? Bean got retweeted by Trump, 3 times in one day. You've done 4 Trump comics. I've done 3 Trump comics. We've both done 1 Trump children's book, and we haven't gotten retweeted by him. But Bean just all of a sudden gets retweeted by Trump. But like, Bean, how did you do it? Tell us your secret.
She deserves it though. So the way she and I knew each other wasn't. I don't even think it was because of comics. We knew each other because of basically like MAGA people just talking and stuff. And it was just like kind of coincidence that was just something we had in common. So I just think that's awesome. She's always been so nice, and she's been through a lot of crap like in the last 2 years. So I mean, good for her. I'm glad she got retweeted 3 times.
And that's the sad thing though, is that she got retweeted by Trump, and because she got retweeted by Trump, she got noticed by like the social media censors. And she actually got her account locked for like most of a day just because she was retweeted by Trump on Twitter. And it's so pathetic that if you get retweeted by Trump, if you get noticed by Trump, then the Twitter censors immediately notice you and lock you out. It like to punish you for getting noticed by Trump. It's such BS. But Bean weathered that really well. So Bean's a great act, and she actually has a cameo in Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Kamen America.
Yeah. The other one is General Grudge. I think he said that he thought that Kamen America so far has been the best independent book he's read all year. I think that's really high praise. I mean, that's really high praise, especially if you're considering, for example, like Image or Dark Horse or Boom Studios. I don't know if that's what he meant or if he meant just like crowdfunded comics in general, but still a compliment nonetheless. So I want to thank him for, I guess it's him. Yeah. General Grudge.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's the length of it. And like I said, if you're tuned in and you didn't hear us mention you, I'm really tired. There's so many people that we can address and that we need to thank. And so I hope that if I didn't mention you, that will occur to me and that we will say something. I wanted to also mention the Wises, so that it's a married couple. Dan and Renee, they actually live very close by to here, and they have bought like all of our books as well. And they're very, very steadfast supporters of us, and we appreciate their patronage too, especially being like a fellow Texan. I think is really cool. So I'd be really remiss if I didn't mention them. But man, okay, so what I'm gonna do is 1, I need to sleep, but 2, before I do, I'm going to be sending out the survey. So probably in the next 30 minutes to an hour, if you're listening, you are going to be getting that survey. Be sure to fill it out. This one's going to be very daunting because now we have over 2,000 backers that we need to manage. And you getting your survey to us on time is going to help us tremendously. And not just that, but that's the only way you're going to be getting a book on time. Right now, we are scheduled to have the books shipped to us on October the 26th, which is a Monday. Normally, it's 2-day shipping. Once it arrives on Wednesday, we go into a full fulfillment mode, and typically we have the first round of books out by the weekend, if not the week after. And so far, we've been pretty good in getting books out within 5 business days.
Right. So it's Twitter, or I'm sorry, not Twitter. Kickstarter won't let us fulfill a book until that survey is completed. So if you complete your survey like now, you'll be first in line to get your book. But if you wait, a really long time, then you'll be last in line to get your book. So the sooner you fill out that survey, the sooner you get your book, the further ahead in line you'll be. So definitely do that.
Yeah. Oh, Alex Cretan is here. He's another really good artist. He's actually taking commissions right now. So if you want a commission from him, let him know. So the best I've ever gotten is retweeted by Stone Toss. So Stone Toss follows me, and I follow him on Twitter. I love Stone Toss.
Great.
I mean, there are some people who honestly like. I think him and George Alexopoulos, as far as if you want like really good political humor that's illustrated, those are the two guys that you need to follow. I mean,
oh yeah, they're hilarious every time. Yeah,
I'm actually kind of glad that George has kind of done all of this, because I was like, man, I would hate to compete against George doing like political.
God, that one he did one recently that was like a Shakespearean, like
yeah,
panels. It was
Hunter
a Shakespearean
Biden?
Play about Hunter Biden, and it was brilliant. It was like like this drama has not transpired. It's just it was brilliant. I loved it.
It's so good. He's a great guy. He's another one who maybe last year a lot of people thought that it was essentially over for him, or at least that's what the naysayers were saying, and he rebounded like quick. I mean, his art is always featured on like the Tim Pool podcast, and he tripled his Twitter follower count in less than 3 weeks. Like, insanity. I mean, I'm really glad that he found his groove and that he's getting back into things.
One question for you, Tim. So now that the Kickstarter over, how long until you launch the limited quantity Indiegogo? Because we've had a lot of questions about that.
I will not launch until the funds are sent to us on Kickstarter and we get the first book out. So because I want to intercept any possible questions coming my way. So let's say you're a Kickstarter backer and then you see me open a Kamen America 2 Indiegogo shop and you haven't gotten your copy yet. You're going to get mad, because it's like, wait a minute, why are you opening another campaign when I haven't got my book yet? So we never start another campaign until we begin the fulfillment of the previous one. So I will launch Kamen America 2 on Indiegogo the first Wednesday after the first book for Kickstarter goes out. By the way, this will only be a 2-week campaign. It's the only way I can guarantee a Christmas fulfillment. Not just that, but because of the rally we had today, it is limited. Like, our quantities are going to be, we're going to hit a ceiling really fast on this one. And I'm sure the naysayers are going to be like, huh, they only made 2K on Indiegogo. It's like, okay, it's fine, whatever. I mean, we literally sold out of everything. I'm not going to reprint anything until next spring. So that's that. Romancer X says, you guys are mad fast with shipping. I got my Black Ops Indiegogo today. I'm going to tell you a story. So our fulfillment team, it's a couple. They got married. They eloped over the weekend, and they got back from they were married in Colorado. They drove back and forth from Colorado. They made it back on Sunday night. They began fulfillment on Black Ops on Monday morning, the day after they arrived. We are a well-oiled machine. We do not waste time. We don't dilly-dally. You paid us money, we're going to get you a book. So
they manage a Chinese restaurant, and they have an invalid elderly wiener dog named Slinky that they take care of, who they literally take around in a stroller everywhere they go, and they still manage to get all the fulfillment done on time. They are an incredible crew at Iconic Comics.
Johnny, I think he only gets about 4 hours of sleep. So I told him that he has like Trump energy, because Donald Trump only sleeps for 4 hours a night. He's just kind of a workaholic. He just has this really good internal battery. But man, I mean, God bless those two, because they handle this fulfillment like a boss, and they have it down to an art. So I trust them in terms of packaging and shipping everything, and their customer service has been really good. So really glad to hear that you got your copy so fast after the campaign ended. Now that is service right there. Hopefully we can match that all the time. Okay. We've been talking for 53 minutes. I need to get this survey sent out. I'm going to watch a little bit of television, and then I'm going to go to bed.
Well, I'm going to go pass out because I'm blotto as hell. So
thank you guys again for supporting us. We guarantee you Kamen Rider Volume 2. I can't wait to see what people say about it. As far as the writing is concerned, I think it's Mark's best. And as far as an artistic style, I think I have it nailed. This is how I'm drawing stuff moving forward.
Tim put in visual gags in there that actually weren't in my script, and so when I was reading the proofs, I was like laughing my ass off because they were so funny. So I think that Common America 2 just absolutely escalates everything we did in the Common America 1. It's going to be great.
I think a lot of you are going to be very, very, very happy with the way it turns out, and we do have a couple of Christmas gifts that we haven't spoiled yet, so I can't wait for people to check on those. All right, people, I will send a survey out. If you're awake an hour from now, you're going to be getting it in your inbox. Other than that, have a good weekend. Have a good night. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.